Hey everybody, today we're going to switch our topics a little bit and talk about some social health. So, we know that finding a tribe is very important to teenagers, and Untangled Lisa D'Amour says, I can't overstate the significance of a teenager's tribe membership. Teenagers aren't just looking to make friends, they are replacing the family they've withdrawn from, or at least might barely acknowledge in public, with a tribe that they can feel proud to call their own. Unfortunately, finding a tribe is not easy, and it's very challenging for some teens in particular to find friends and make friends and keep friends, be a healthy friend. There's set boundaries. There's a lot that we could talk about in social health. But this week I'm going to focus on something specific in my life. I want to talk about the three parts of a relationship. So this is very important for us to understand as parents, and it's very important for our teens to understand as they start to navigate these friendships. So the three parts are: number one, what the other person in the relationship thinks about us. The second one is what we think about the other person. And three, how we think and feel about ourselves within that relationship. So let's talk about each one individually. So the first part is what the other person in the relationship thinks and feels toward us. Now, this is the one that we tend to get stuck on. It's focusing on things that are outside of ourselves, and so it's easier for our brain to see them, for our eyes to see them, for to obsess about them. Did that person, are they mad at me? What do they think about what I said? What do they think about me? Do they like me? Do they not like me? Do they like my hair? Do they like my clothes? Like, there are millions of ways that we can think about and obsess about what other people think about us. And unfortunately, this one is mostly outside of our control. Like, we can't really change how other people think about us. If we're a jerk, it's more likely that they won't think very kindly about us, but we still can't control it. They get to choose what their thoughts are and what their feelings are. And we all have an innate desire to belong. We talked about that a few weeks ago. And it is very important to feel like we're accepted. It's important to feel like we're part of a tribe, that we're part of a group. And if we start to tell our teens, you shouldn't care what other people think, it's going to shut down the conversation right there, because they do care what other people think. We all care what other people think. And that is a normal, human, healthy thing to care about. Unfortunately, we tend to obsess about it. And sometimes we can get stuck. So, one of the things that we can do when our teens get stuck there is switch their brains a little bit to parts 2 and 3. So we're going to talk about those. The second one is what we think about the other person. And sometimes we kind of forget about this part entirely, and I'm not sure why we do that. I don't know if it's because we just are thinking inside of ourselves. It takes maybe some maturity. But I think we just get so focused on wanting other people to accept us that we kind of forget, do I accept this other person? What do I think about this other person? Are they a good influence on me? Do I like them? Do I like the way that they talk to me? Do I like the way that they treat me? Do I feel like I can be myself with them? That's actually kind of moving into part 3, but it's just kind of really thinking, are they a good example? Are they a good friend? Is it someone that I want to emulate? What do I think about this other person? And we can then choose those thoughts and control those thoughts and choose to think different thoughts. And that will influence our emotions and how close we feel to that person. So the third part is the way that we see ourselves within the relationship. We've all been in unhealthy relationships, and we've all been, hopefully, in healthy relationships. And we act differently inside of those different relationships. So I have actually been married before. I was married for 18 months before I met my current husband. We did not have any kids. And it was shocking to me. I met my now husband just 3 weeks after my divorce was final. It was pretty crazy. And I was shocked to discover how different of a person I was with my now husband than I was with my ex-husband. We did not have a healthy relationship. And I didn't like myself with him. I didn't like the way that I reacted. I didn't like the way that I was always on edge, and I always felt like I was walking on eggshells. And when I met my now husband just a short time later, I was almost a different person, and it was very surprising to me to see how we bring out different sides in each other. And I felt so like I could be myself, that he wasn't going to get mad at me for saying certain things, that I could say whatever was on my mind. We just clicked. We just understood each other. So helping your teens start to look how they feel about themselves in different relationships can be very powerful. If they have a friend named Sarah, it's like, do you feel like you can be yourself around Sarah? Are you happy? Do you feel like you can say what's on your mind? Do you feel like Sarah can forgive you? Can she interact with you in a healthy way? So those are kind of the three parts of relationship. I have one other story to tell you. So I was coaching somebody some months back, and they were looking for a new job. And they were very, very anxious and nervous about going in for job interviews. They've been in the same career for a while, and so they felt a little bit rusty. And she was very nervous about the job interview. And so I started talking to her about some of her thoughts and some of her emotions. And she would say things like, I'm worried I'm not going to say the right thing. What are they going to think about me? Am I going to fit in? What answers are they looking for? How do I know what they are expecting me to say? How am I going to get this job? And as we talked a little bit, we realized that she was focusing primarily on number one. She was really worried about what the interviewer was thinking about her. And this is very normal because you want to get a job. But as we talked about it some more, she had an aha moment and realized, wait a minute, this is an interview for me too. What do I think about this company? What do I think about their benefits? What do I think about the interviewer? How do I feel when I'm in the building? And do I feel like I can be myself? Do I feel like I can give answers that are authentic? And so we started looking at parts 2 and 3 and the things that she could control, because she can't control what the other person thinks about her in an interview. I mean, there's a few things that you can do, dress nicely, things like that. But largely an interview is for you too. It was for her. And so while she still had some anxiety about it, because you should have some anxiety that can motivate you in a different way, it took a lot of the pressure off her chest when she realized, oh, well, this job interview is for me too. And what questions do I want to ask? What information do I want to find out? How do I feel, like I said, in the building and with myself? And if she'd gotten the job and hadn't been herself, then it might have been even more nerve-wracking because you were hiding a part of yourself, and so then comfortable in the job. So teaching these 3 parts of a relationship can really give them power. A lot of times teens feel like they have to act a certain way or be a certain way in friendships, and that's normal and that's okay, and we can help them navigate that and we can kind of discuss that. But it's also important to help them realize that they're part of the relationship too. And the way that they think and feel towards the other person, the way they think about themselves, those are just as important as the first part, which is the way that their friends think about them. So some ways that we can kind of help our teens with these parts is first to teach them about them, and second, pay attention to the way that your teens talk about their friends, the way they talk about or lack of friends. Are they focusing primarily on the other person, or are they talking about how to be a friend, how to become a better friend? We're going to talk about that a little bit in the group this week. If they talk about kids who are popular, then you can use that opportunity to discuss, well, why do you think that they're popular? How do you think other people think about that person? That was kind of a confusing sentence, but to just start kind of helping your teen dissect the different parts of relationships and friendships and what it means to be a good friend, as well as to what it means to have a healthy friendship and to have a healthy relationship. So I hope that this was helpful, and I will talk to you some more in the group this week.